Well, that's Cam Neely, of course, and it's, time for a post-op of the Boston Bruins. We're here for that checkup. Welcome to the Kevin Mack Sports Hour on News Talk 99.7 FM and AM 630 WPRO and on 790 The Score. Well, that was a bad traffic update, so patience, everyone. You'll get where you need to go. It's going to take a little while. So, yesterday, the Bruins did have their wrap-up press conference. The governor, Charlie Jacobs, Cam Neely, the team president, Don Sweeney, the general manager, and after listening to it and thinking about it a little bit, Cam had a few interesting, if not eye-opening, things to say. Like, he enjoyed watching this team, and it was pretty clear that there were other teams that Cam Neely has run in his tenure with the Bruins that he didn't like. He liked this team's grit and fight. He said, they're as competitive as we need them to be and that our fan base likes, and they had some piss and vinegar. I know that there were nights when some teams didn't want to be on the ice with us, and that's what I was hoping for. What is this? The Edgewood Eagles? The Bruins are teaching, force-feeding their players to learn to play hard and compete at an NHL level? Isn't that part of the deal once you become an NHL player, a professional hockey player, one of the very best in the world, in the best league in the world? Shouldn't that be integral when you draft someone or pay big money to bring them in as a free agent? So he liked that his team played hard, even if they didn't have enough talent to win playoff games, which they didn't. And I tell you, they did play hard, and they pushed the Buffalo Sabres hard in the first round of the playoffs. And Buffalo won out, which was predicted, not a surprise. So he says that this team needs more skill at the top end. Whose job is it to get those players that skill level on the roster? Cam Neely's, and more specifically, Don Sweeney, the general manager, but they've been joined at the hip for close to a decade now. So if you didn't know that the Bruins were resetting the roster, and Cam Neely, I would say, danced around it last offseason and at the start of this season, you know it now. Cam and Sweeney clearly went to ownership and said, well, you know, I know we've won a lot of games for the last couple of years. And I know that the previous season, well, last season, was they hit the skids. But we need a reset. Reset in thinking, reset in salary structure. And Charlie Jacobs basically said, no problem, boys. I don't think he said take as much time as you want, but I think that's the way Cam Neely took it. This year was a transition year. Next year? Well, we'll find out. We'll find out exactly what the Bruins are looking to do in free agency. Specifically, they're going to get more talent. Skill at the top end. Okay, I'm waiting, Cam. I'm waiting, Don Sweeney. Bring it on. 401-438-WPRO, 438-9776 is our number. Call on anything tonight. Kind of an open season. We're going to hit the Bruins, hit the Red Sox, hit the Celtics, and let's get started with tonight's three big hits. All right, the Red Sox, they're back home to face the Tampa Rays tonight at Fenway. Rookie Jake Bennett gets the start. Sox are coming off their first season sweep of the season after taking 3 games in Detroit. Sox placed Roman Anthony on the 10-day injured list today. He's already missed the last 2 games with a hand injury. Providence Bruins, they need a win tonight in Springfield to keep their season alive. The PBs, who were the top team of the AHL in the regular season, trail in their best-of-5 playoff series with the Thunderbirds 2-1. NHL tonight, the Flyers in an 0-2 hole. They're at home to face the Carolina Hurricanes. NBA, the Thunder and the Pistons are looking to go 2-up in their series. And big news today in college basketball, the NCAA has officially expanded both the men's and women's basketball tournaments from 68 to 76 teams starting this coming season, next year. The extra teams will come from the at-large pools and most likely be middling teams from conferences like the ACC, Big Ten, and the Big East. Changes also will create 12 opening round games matching 16 and 15 seeds, and 12 games matching the 12 lowest seeded at-large teams, like 12 seeds and 11 seeds. The NCAA says it will receive an additional $50 million a year in media rights for those extra games. We'll get into more of this NCAA expansion tomorrow night for sure. Quick spin, it's ridiculous. It's the pig football schools. Yeah, that's what I'm calling them, pigs. They run the show. They want more of their middling teams in the tournament, and they got what they wanted. Don't be surprised. They can do whatever they want because they control all the cash. Well, again, we'll get to that tomorrow night. Okay, the Bruins. And Rooch, I actually wanted to watch the Bruins post press conference a little bit more today and really think about what Cam Neely was saying. And this was a team that had just 76 points last season. This year, 100. So a nice jump and perhaps a little unexpected. But come on, it's the Boston Bruins. This should be a 100-point team and a playoff team every season. Instead, what I heard yesterday is everyone patting themselves on the back. That's where the Bruins are right now.
Yeah, that is where the Bruins are right now. And I've been commenting on this for years in terms of the low bar that seems to have been set by Sweeney and Neely and accepted gleefully at times by the Jacobs family. Otherwise, I can't really explain why Neely and Sweeney still have their jobs and are thought of so highly. I'm with you. It's one thing to have to go through a rebuild, to have to go through, roster restructuring. Those things happen in professional sports. They shouldn't happen at the rate with which they've been happening under Don Sweeney and Cam Neely. This is, look, I understand. You get prospects, you hit some, you miss some. Same with free agency, same with trades. But the fact that there should be allowed these massive ebbs and flows, no. If you allowed my franchise to get to this low, you're fired. And I need to find someone else to dig me out. And that's just not the way they do things up there in Boston. And Neely and Sweeney are going to be allowed to, I guess, continue to patiently rebuild for some reason. I don't know why you can't spend and trade your way out of this, but they're going to continue to rebuild and find some more talent, K-Mac, to properly represent the Boston Bruins, whatever that means.
Well, basically what Cam and Sweeney were saying was we messed up the salary situation so badly a couple of years ago when you remember when our friend Monty was the coach.
Right.
And they pushed all the chips in, which they did. And they, were the best team in the NHL in the regular season. Yeah. Monty's the one.
When he's spending.
Yeah.
All the money is flowing through.
That's like, I don't know, 4 years ago maybe? Trying to think what it is. But I think it's 4 seasons ago. They're still digging out of that. I wouldn't say mistake because I applauded them at the time for going all in. Should it take you 4 years?
No, that's my point. That's my point.
Yes.
It's like, look, the risk you take is going all in.
Yeah.
Right? And then you need to have a secondary plan should you fail, because the obvious result should be, again, this is my befuddlement, the obvious result should be management, or in this case, ownership, being like, yeah, that was you know what, I saw what you were doing there, and that was quite the swing, but yeah, look what you've done to our team. You're fired. You've got to go. I need to find somebody to fix this. I can't reasonably expect the person and people who put me in this dilemma, they're the ones that, you're going to fix it. Okay, well, good luck to you. Too bad you couldn't have seen this coming in the first place, but I trust that you'll be able to find a way through.
Yeah, it was 4 years ago when they won 135, when they had 135 points. 4 years ago. Fired a coach, went through a lot of free agents.
Got a lot of cups out of that, did they?
And now they're saying, well, we made some nice jumps, and we unveiled some promising young players like the centers, Fraser Minton and James Higgins, who, by the way, he's still he still has girlfriends at Boston College. He's not an NHL player. He got his skates wet in the NHL. And do they expect James Higgins to be like a real guy, like a big-time player next year? He's a young player. And those are the two guys they mentioned as, potential answers at center. Well, James Higgins is a couple more years away. He's a kid. He's like 20, 21 years old. So I'm happy to see that they're so happy with their young guys and teaching them to play hard. But again, is that the bar? Just how far away are these guys, literally and figuratively? Here's Cam Neely.
I know how badly you guys want to win. Do you have the patience to the long approach, the drafting and developing those players, or are you more say, no, we want the help now, we want the ready-made help as it's available?
Well, I think showing what we did a couple of years ago showed like, okay, we're going to have some patience here. How long that is, it remains to be seen. What we can do with those assets that we have now that we didn't have, that remains to be seen. But we also have to look at our current roster, the core players and their age group and where they're at, and what can we do to build around them. Right now for me, it's about today, tomorrow, and the next day, and we'll go from there.
Young guys building if Charlie Jacobs doesn't grow something, these guys will be rebuilding for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
No question.
Right.
And probably sneak into the playoffs and get knocked out fairly quickly and say, wow, we made some giant steps. That'll be the team. That'll be the motto.
That's the bar.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's obvious that it's the bar. If Neely is not only allowed to, but to your point, is boastful out there talking about a 19-year-old centerman who's, going to waltz in. And no, he himself is admitting that this is a rebuild project and we're still years away, to which, again, I don't understand. You spend to the max, you put yourself in salary cap jail, fine. You should get a year, maybe 2 tops, to find a way out of that. And to be where they are specifically 4 years later, again, it's more than a fireable offense. It's a bunch of fireable offenses. And the fact that not only Neely and Sweeney continue to be employed but embraced by ownership, again, sort of tells you all you need to know about where the bar is. And if you're a Bruins fan, you should be really upset because they're playing you for chumps, and they're doing a pretty good job of it right now.
Yeah, and hey, that building is jammed out all the time.
It's sad from that perspective.
It's a very, very expensive ticket. People can't wait to lap it up, and hey, it's a rebuilding situation. The Boston Bruins, come on, please.
They're a really dedicated fan base, too.
Very much so.
I'm not some puckhead, but for years, I would always marvel at the fact that the Bruins fans, I'm out of all the fans in the area, and I'm including the Red Sox at the height of, Red Sox, Yankees. To me, the Bruins fans always came off as the most fanatic, like the true sense of it. Like they were really going to live and die with this team. And again, it makes me sad because I feel like the Jacobs family is playing Bruins fans for idiots. And they love the team so much, they can't see the forest through the trees.
Yeah, you know how fanatical it is. The 1 or 2 times I have friends in town who say, hey, let's go see the Bruins. I look at the tickets, and they're astronomical for a decent ticket. Like crazy, $400 or $500. I mean, not $75, not $150, $400 or $500 for a seat downstairs. So God bless the fans. Crazy on the Bruins for killing these fans like that. But, hey, that's what the market will bear. And the team's veterans, how few there are who are still, good or in their prime or, looking like they can be, real keys. And, there were some guys this year who took pretty good jumps for sure. And Pavel Zacha and certainly Morgan Geekie. But then there's others like David Pasternak, who obviously will have his number raised to the rafters at some point. What's he thinking? Here's Don Sweeney.
Well, I mean, I applaud David in the sense of asking for immediate help. I'd say 10 years ago when he was working his way into our lineup, maybe the Bergerons and Chara said, how good is this young man? And we might say the same thing about Fraser Minton and Kuzi and James Higgins. So there's going to require some patience. I think we all alluded to that last year, that we needed to get back to be a deeper skill-based and adding speed to our club. We have to have everything in play in terms of how we continue to improve our club, and we have that mindset.
Zacha, Higgins, and Kuzi? I don't know who Kuzi is. I'm sure he's a really outstanding young prospect, but there's only one Kuzi at TD Garden, right?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. And you know what's crazy? And again, it's sort of encapsulated right there. Don Sweeney Well, you know what he sounded like there, K-Mac? He sounded like, a high school or a college coach whose team has won like several dozen consecutive championships.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, well, when Pasta got here, he had to wait in line. And these guys, he's going to have to put up with other guys, waiting in line, coming through the ranks. And to come back on what you said at the beginning, it's like, bro, this is the pros. Well,
Yeah.
what's going on here? Like, these growing pains. Well, what is this? Like, these boxes were supposed to have been checked multiple times before these people got to your team. You are not some dynastic program that can sort of pick and choose, who comes through the ranks. You guys need talent, and you need it desperately if you're going to try to actually compete for a Stanley Cup.
All right, we're going to switch to the Red Sox. So, they're on fire, actually. We'll get to Boston and Fenway next on the Kevin Mack Sports Hour. A great night for baseball up there at friendly Fenway. We got some sun. It's not 38 degrees. It's far from warm, but the Sox come home after a sweep of the Tigers. They'll face the Tampa Rays. Welcome back here to the Kevin Mack Sports Hour on WPRO and 790 The Score. And whenever I hear that song,
Yeah.
John Cougar Mellencamp, right?
Nope. You got the first name right, but then John Fogerty.
John Fogerty, I'm sorry. Yes, of course. I think of McCoy Stadium.
Me too. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Probably
because
the first time I ever heard that song.
I mean, they played that constantly. And when I see that John Lester, Mike Timlin, and Johnny Damon are going into the Red Sox Hall of Fame, there was a ceremony in the last hour. They'll be introduced during the game tonight. I think, well, geez, I mean, John Lester and Jonathan Papelbon, they were like attached at the hip as they came through the Red Sox organization, and I remember them both at Pawtucket. They're both starters, by the way. Pap was a starter. So I'm thinking, John Lester. And then I just saw a picture of John. He's aging gracefully. Rooch, how old is John Lester?
John Lester is 46 years old.
I had him pushing 50. He's 42.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
I thought he was a few years older than I am, but I guess he's a year younger. That makes sense.
I'm not 42. And I guess that means I was, fairly older when I covered John Lester at McCoy. So it makes me feel a little old. I don't like that. Johnny Damon, of course, didn't come through the minors with Boston. He's 51. Okay.
Right.
That makes a little more sense.
You know what I just did with Lester? I forgot the baseball component of it. Like, so he was a young player, right? Like, around the same time, Carmelo Anthony was a young player.
You remember him as a 20-year-old.
Right, but he had to make it through the minors, right? Like, those guys, it takes them 4 or 5 years to get there,
That's
even
right.
the young players. So, 46.
Yep.
John Lester?
42.
42, right. I guess 46. 42 years old, That's
And he was probably in the big leagues for 15 years. He had a long run.
Yeah, and he's beaten cancer at least once,
Sure,
right?
sure.
I think maybe twice.
Yeah.
So he's lived quite the life there.
Shame he was a Chicago Cub, but that's
He's helped, and both of he and Theo, right, and both of those curses.
Yeah, that's right.
That's something.
Chad Tracy has now managed 10 games, which is shocking to me. He's 6-4, so this guy's going to win 60% of his games, Rooch,
easily.
So
that's the floor.
The Sox. By the way, I got a text from. Okay, I can tell you who's my Red Sox fan.
That would be Phil in Rumford.
Yeah, Phil said the Red Sox are 2 games out of the wild card.
Right,
as of this morning.
Well,
so of course they are.
Sure,
because and I'm assuming
who isn't?
I'm assuming that's correct because who could make that up? Do you know how bad the Red Sox have been this year? And they're 2 games out of the wild card, which makes a lot of sense.
Of course.
That's MLB.
The Athletics are like the second best team in the American League.
And they're not trying to win.
Yeah, I'm saying they don't even have a city sponsoring their team.
That's right.
And they're in second place in the American League. So, it's still early, but you got to love that enthusiasm.
Yeah, Chad Tracy, 6-4, looking to make it 7-4 tonight with the Tampa Rays in town. A perfect mix of, everything in Detroit. Here's the manager.
Our defense was awesome tonight. Everything that goes up in the air in the outfield in general, I feel like we got a shot at it. They're awfully good out there. It's been a good week. The series was good. We did a lot of things right. We played great defensively. We ran the bases extremely well. We got the clutch hits that have been missing. We pitched extremely well. So it was a really good short trip. I feel, it really feels normal to me now at this point. 9-10 games into it, and very comfortable with the guys and comfortable with the routine. I've been home, been on the road, so I'm just very normal for me now.
Rooch, I should have checked the standings. Phil was slightly wrong. They're a game and a half out of the wild card.
Cooking. Well, it's this hot streak they're on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 3 in a row.
But by the hour, they're gaining in the wild card.
Absolutely.
Which is about correct. Is that it for the Red Sox?
That's it for the Red Sox.
Yeah, that's it for the Red Sox.
They're breathing down the neck of the wild card leader, who's who, by the way? Who's
the Tampa Bay Rays.
Oh, right, okay.
They can catch them tonight.
Oh,
what a series.
Basically the Super Bowl.
Big time.
Woo! Good luck, Phil.
That's it for the Red Sox talk, because guess what? Jaylen Brown can't keep quiet. More on JB and the Celts next on the Kevin Mac Sports Hour. Welcome back to the Kevin Mac Sports Hour here on WPRO and 790 The Score. Yeah, right here on the Kevin Mac Sports Hour. I heard Stephen A. Smith on ESPN say, hey, JB, we get it. We understand that you really enjoyed leading the Celtics this year. But it's a bad look, man. This is your favorite season when you're at home on Twitch after the first round of the playoffs. You should be devastated. No one in Celtics land is devastated, and I have a problem with that, as I said earlier in the week. But you were the best player on this team this season. This was your team, right? You should be devastated. Not saying, whoa, this was the favorite season of my career. Because, well, we know why. Because this was your team. Not because, Luka Garza took a giant step and Hugo showed that he had, something out of Spain. I mean, come on, JB. We know why it was your favorite season. And we're not stupid. And for you to come on social media again last night and double, triple down, in your words, and insisting that it was your favorite season, Rooch, I can't help this guy. I mean, that he's had some discussions with Brad Stevens, maybe with Johnston Joe, maybe, I don't know, maybe those guys want to get away from him for a while. He's going to double, triple, and quadruple down off season? Maybe that's his deal. Okay, fine.
Yeah, I mean, the more Jaylen Brown speaks, he gets all this credit for being thoughtful and altruistic and, open-minded and things of that nature, all to which, publicly he has been able to display those things. He's done a lot of charitable work. Mm-hmm. He's done a lot of appearances where he's come off very well-spoken and intelligent, but it sort of left me to believe that all of those decisions are made behind closed doors with groups, because when this guy is left to his own devices to speak freely, he talks out of both sides of his mouth and often sounds like a complete moron, which is what we're getting here from the, best season, my favorite season. Like, again, this is a PR person would sit him down and tell him, okay, Jaylen, I understand that's how you feel. Wink, nod, we get it. You got to run the show. You were the top boss. I understand it. Hey, I think it was your best season too, so let's keep that under wraps. This is an easy one.
Yeah.
Very disappointing the result, but there were a lot of things that I particularly enjoyed about this season.
Easy. Yes.
Can you list the things?
Yeah.
Okay.
Throw out Peyton Pritchard
sure.
blossomed.
All of it.
Yeah, again, Sam Hauser, showed he could be a starter in the NBA. Yeah, whoop-de-damn-do. Well, you got knocked out in the first round of the playoffs.
Right, but he wants to focus on the personal things. So it's like, he wants to talk. I'm saying if he still wants to focus on his own personal things, forget Pritchard, Hauser, whomever.
Yeah.
Then he can still come out and say, this was a very disappointing season, but because of the role I was put in and the things we were able to achieve, there were a lot of things that I took from this that hopefully, I can use moving forward to help make the team better. But you add to that, the fact that he can't resist from saying what he said, to the fact that, again, the optics, it's like, this is a team game, bro. And you, personally, Jaylen Brown, received the highest honors possible for a member of a team in a team game in this sport when you got the Finals MVP
right.
and the Eastern Conference MVP on the way to leading your team to the championship. So I understand that season might not have been as enjoyable personally for whatever reasons for you.
How? How
But
can
no,
not? How
it
can
doesn't
that?
matter. It
I mean,
doesn't
how?
matter. But it doesn't matter. That's what I'm saying. He's telling on himself. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, he could, like, it's not hard for me to believe, and it shouldn't be hard for anybody to believe that he enjoyed this season more than that other season because he was the man. And he's telling you how important that is to him.
Mm-hmm.
So that's fine that he enjoyed it more. But the fact that he feels so emphatic to go forward with that publicly again and again, doubling and tripling down, again, it's just the height of idiocy from someone who wants to be taken as a serious intellectual.
And this is a guy who would like to be on an Olympic team one day.
Right.
This is the opposite
Right.
of what you would say in order to be an Olympian. Where, guess what? If you're an Olympian, JB, in a couple of years, does it go to L.A.? L.A. in 28, I think.
Yeah.
That would be perfect, right, for him. You're not going to be the best player on the team. Okay, I can guarantee you that. You might not be in the top 10. Could you be on the team? Yeah, you could be on the team. But if you're going to be at the back of the rotation of an Olympic team, you need to be a team player. This is the opposite mantra of a team player. So he's not helping himself in so many ways here. It's crazy.
Yeah, and that could be, too, part of the leftovers from him feeling like he's already been exiled from that sort of
I think he has.
situation. But no, K-Mac, you're missing out on Jaylen Brown would love the Olympic experience because in his mind, everybody else would get sick and injured. He would score 50 a game. The United States would get the bronze medal, and that would be the greatest Olympics that he'd ever experienced in his life. That's what he's telling us right here.
We led you to the bronze.
Right. Oh,
yes.
he led you to the bronze is better than him being along for the ride and an important piece at that in a championship or a gold medal. Again, you can't take him seriously. He can't even defend the comments that he makes.
Not quite sure if JB went on Twitch to double or triple down. Or to dig himself out of a hole. Tracy McGrady early in the week had said that JB has some issues with the Boston organization. Brad Stevens has no idea what McGrady was speaking about. Sounds like JB is backtracking as well.
I say this and I stand on this again. Y'all can clip this up. This was my favorite season of my career. Like, I will say it even louder. Like, this, I stand on it. I triple down, quadruple down, whatever y'all want me to say, chat. You know what I mean? And I'm coming on here to give context and talk about certain things, but I'm really not here to clear up no backlash or to, I'm really here to add context.
Okay. I actually believe what he says there. But we could easily say here, Rooch, that, okay, you want to stay here for the next 10 years. By the way, I don't know if your career will go 10 more years, but 10 years. Jason Tatum is probably going to be here potentially the next 10 years. You won't be the top dog. Are you sure? Are you cool with that? I don't know. This guy talks himself into circles.
That's what I mean. What he just said right there really wasn't declarative at all because you just threw those asterisks appropriately into that mix.
Right.
He could always go back to that statement right there and put the ... the ellipse in there and say, well, yeah, I assumed I was going to be the guy. I want to stay here if they'll make me the guy, right? If they, trade Tatum or make it clear to him that he's, my Robin and that I'm Batman, then yeah. I want to stay here forever at top dollar, of course. So, yeah, Jaylen Brown just is not someone that can be taken at his word unless he's been prepped and helped by a public relations team, apparently, because you even, Tracy McGrady, the podcast.
Right.
There's nobody reading tea leaves there. This isn't coming from McGrady. This was Jaylen Brown and Tracy McGrady openly talked about how when Jaylen Brown's first contract extension was on the horizon, he discussed with McGrady how he felt his place was on the Boston Celtics. And obviously he's made clear all this season about how underappreciated he's felt in years past. So, again, for him to try to write this off as, how could Brad have to answer this? My good friend, Brad Stevens, with whom I have great communication. Oh, this is an easy one, JB. he has to answer for it because you won't stop you won't shut up about it, going on every other podcast in front of every microphone talking about, I'm underappreciated, I've sacrificed, I don't feel like I'm getting my due. So, yeah, your good friend, Brad Stevens, who you communicate openly with, he's going to have to answer these tough questions time and time again if you just don't learn to, bottle the edge, I guess, and shut up.
Any chance that we don't hear Jaylen Brown on his role on the team or how much he enjoyed this year until media day in like late September, early October? That would be best. Like you said, his personal PR people, that's what they should tell him. Right now, it's the off season. JB, as you said, has done outstanding work in the community, not only in Boston, but in Atlanta, in Oakland. Awesome.
Yes.
Focus on that. Focus on your family. Focus on rest and recovery. Not on your ego. Maybe that's too much to ask for Jaylen Brown.
Well, as we talked about last night, right, we got that August 1st deadline looming.
Oh, yes, that's right.
So
the contract.
I'd like for him I think it's best for all involved if he were to stay low until then, but unless he goes on one of those Aaron Rodgers TP silence retreats, my hopes aren't very high for that one.
All right, when we come back, tonight's Kevin Mack Sports Pick of the Night. Oh, everything is not okay at all for Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini. Welcome back to the Kevin Mack Sports Hour here on WPRO and 790 The Score. Yeah, this is yesterday's news. No additional news today. Is that? I don't think.
What, on Vrabel?
Yeah, but don't hold your breath. The day's not over yet.
No, well, I mean, the video was officially released.
I saw some video of him walking the plank. The dock.
Yes.
Out to the boat. Was it a lake in Tennessee, I believe, something like that?
Yeah, and it was 5 years ago and things
2021. She had yet to give birth. She was very pregnant.
Right.
And
it's beginning to be a little too coincidental for me that people are realizing in hindsight that they have these incriminating videos and photographs.
Somebody's releasing them.
Yeah, this is a coordinated effort.
Yeah.
You can decide for yourselves which side it's coming from. I'm not even trying to insinuate. It's just pretty obvious to me at this point. I mean, again, if you thought that was a big deal 5 years ago, you would have done something with it 5 years ago. Because someone else would have thought that it was a big deal. This isn't like 5 years ago. If you had brought it to TMZ, they would have said, yeah, take a walk, bro. Nobody cares. They would have very much cared. So a lot of people have been, or a lot of person have been sitting on a lot of these things. And we talked about it from the beginning. My take was the only way this could hurt Mike Vrabel's employment with the Patriots is if for some reason it doesn't go away, and it's not going away.
Yeah, the distraction that Vrabel, fell on his sword about 2 weeks ago, it's still a distraction.
Yeah.
And, there's been calls for Vrabel to, quote, take accountability. I don't know what he can say to take accountability, except I don't know. I've had a long-standing relationship with Diana. I mean, is that what people want to hear? To your point, if there's continual dribs and drabs, even if he did say that and after he says that, the story lives.
Right, it's too late. Like, we're seeing the results of his attempt at that right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, at first he was dismissive, and then it was, oh, this is a family problem. Yeah, none of that has been satisfactory because each time it's been a half measure a day too late, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think there is a full measure at this point that Mike Vrabel would be willing to take, right? Like, I'm literally talking, check out my bank account, and here's my Social Security number. That's what it would take to satisfy people at this point, and that's because he's pushed people to this end with his constant denials and his dismissiveness.
Let's get to the Kevin Mack Sports Pick of the Night. Is my man Coos. He's not on skates with the Bruins, that's for sure.
No.
I wish he was on the line and we could pick his brain about the NBA playoffs tonight. Game 2s. You always see nice pushbacks from losers of Game 1. You saw it last night from the Sixers at the Garden without Joel Embiid. They played very well against the Knicks. Give themselves some hope when the series goes back to Philly on the weekend. But tonight, the Cavaliers are 4-point underdogs in Detroit. Lakers 15.5 underdogs in Oklahoma City. I didn't see much from the Lakers at all in that game one. 15.5 is a big number. I think I still like both home teams to cover those numbers. Just don't know if the Lakers have enough
They don't.
to hang.
Nah.
You know?
Nah. Oklahoma City's just like Oklahoma City is going to prove to just be way better than everyone else, is my opinion. When we're sitting here, the NBA Finals are done.
San Antonio, too?
Yeah.
You think San Antonio could take them to 6 games?
Maybe, but they just don't have any experience.
Yeah.
None. And as I said before the playoffs started, San Antonio would be the first team of its kind by 1.5 miles to win the NBA title.
Sure.
Wemby might win 5.
Right.
He's just going to need some experience.
They're just not ready.
They're just not ready.
Yeah.
And so, Oklahoma City, I think at the end of the day, so if they throttle the Lakers, that wouldn't surprise me. It is interesting, though, Cleveland and Detroit. I kind of figured, and, we'll see, I guess, tonight, but, Detroit's performance in Game 1 sort of, I think, solidified in a lot of people's minds, mine included, that, they've righted the ship. However good they are, they've found their level again. They've won 4 in a row. They're up 1-0. So I kind of thought, full steam ahead. They're going to, maybe gentleman's sweep or 6 games against Cleveland. But the market really likes the Cavaliers tonight.
Tonight, yeah.
Both against the spread and on the money line. The numbers are like really, really good for spots where I would normally pull the trigger, but I can't. James Harden in the playoffs on the road?
4 points is it's a possession and a half. I mean, it's really not much.
Yeah, and I mean, the money line there is pretty good, plus 145, plus 150. So, I mean, if you don't hate James Harden, you're getting a great price on Cleveland, and the market salutes you for it. But I'm with you. I think both home teams get it done tonight.
And, hey, you got to listen to the pick of the night every night, because last night, for the golf, the Truist Championship, Rooch gave you Sepp Straka.
How's he doing?
He's through 17, 5 under. Tied for 3rd.
There you go.
Only 3 back.
That's what we don't want him
Where
to have
you
the lead.
Be.
We don't want him to have the lead today.
No, we don't want first-round leaders.
That's right.
Even second-round leaders.
Let's go, Sepp.
It's all about Sunday. Hey, tomorrow night, we're going to go deep into this NCAA tournament expansion. Neither one of us are happy about it. We'll get to that on tomorrow night's KevinMc Sports Hour.